Hello, today we're going to learn how to graph inequalities in two variables. So graphing inequalities in two variables is just like graphing any other linear equation with two variables. So if you remember how to graph your linear equations, this should be a cinch. And here's just a quick review in case you forgot. I think I'll give you probably all the problems in slope-intercept form just to keep things simple for the first assignment. Maybe a couple more, have you solve for x. But the first thing, or solve for y, the first thing is to solve for y, okay? If you're going to use slope-intercept form, which I recommend using, it's usually the simplest way to graph lines. So once you got your equation to solve for y, this one already is, you're looking at two things here, the coefficient in front of the x, and the value without an x, okay? So this is a 2, and that 2 tells you what the slope is. And that slope is the ratio of how far it goes up to how far it goes over to the right. Okay, so in this case the slope is 2. And with the negative 3 means that my y-intercept is negative 3. So I'm going to start at the y-intercept. It's the point where the line intersects the y-axis. Okay, so negative 3, and then I'm going to go up 2 for every 1 I go over. Now why is it up 2 rather than over 2? Well, that's because if you think of 2 as a fraction, it's really 2 over 1. So the 2 is the up and the 1 is the over. So don't go up 1 over 2, because that's a different slope. So I'm going to go here, and then up 2 over 1 is here. And don't put your point there and then start drawing from the origin. Put your point here and then count your slope from this point. Okay, like so. Alright. So a slope of 2 should be kind of steep. If it was negative, it would be like that. If it was a small fraction, it would be more closer to the horizontal. Hopefully that's all real familiar. Alright, so that's a graphing equation. Now how do we graph an inequality? Well, it's just the same thing. Here's a simple one. Y is greater than or equal to x. Okay, so got our line, y equals x, diagonal line goes up 1 for when it goes over and goes right through the middle. Now let's take a look at this. What values, like what kind of coordinates are going to be solutions for this inequality? Well, anytime the y part of a coordinate is bigger than the x part of the coordinate, it's going to make this inequality true. So like, let's test some points. How about negative 1, 1? Okay. Remember, x is first. Is the x smaller or equal to the y? Yes, it is. So negative 1, 1 is true. All right. So that's on one side of our line. Let's test a point on the other side of our line. How about 1, negative 1? Okay. So is 1 less than or equal to negative 1? No, it's not. So this is not a solution. All right, how about a point on the line, like 2, 2? Is 2 greater than or equal to 2? Yes, it is. Okay, so that's good. You could test as many points as you want. What you're going to see ultimately is that anything in this region is going to be a solution, and anything over here is not a solution. So usually the way we represent that is just by kind of shading in or putting some squiggles on the side of the line that the values make it true. Sometimes people will do other stuff, like you could, I don't know, if you want to go crazy and be fancy, you can draw arrows or use a different color or really whatever. Some people like to do this sort of thing. Or you could make the arrows up. It doesn't make any difference. Anything over there is going to be true, everything over there is going to be false. Alright? And that's, I should just mention, anytime, if you have it solved for y, anytime it's greater than, the y is greater than the x, it's always going to be in this direction that's true, and this direction that's false. And that's because y always gets bigger up here. Hang on, am I saying that? Oh, that's not necessarily true. If it's a negative, so it's always on top of the line, but on top of the line is sort of relative. I'll show you. If this was negative x, then we would have this. And in that case, this would be the true part. Because that's on top of the line. So it's not always to the left, it's just always on top. Alright. Okay, let's do a few more. Y is less than 2x minus 1. Okay, start at -1, up 1 over 2, draw your line. Except, less than is not the same as less than or equal to. The way we represent that is we just put some dashes for our line instead of a solid line, usually. And then the shading is just exactly the same. Y is less, or it's true if y is less, so we shade below the line. Okay? Easy. Alright, what if we have to solve for y first? Let's see here. In this case, all we have to do is solve for y, subtract x. So we got y is less than -x plus 4. Now I would encourage you to put the x term first, just so you keep that whole slope and intercept thing straight in your mind. So we're going to go up 4 for the intercept, and then our slope is -1. What does that mean? Up, over. Okay. So it means we need to go one of these. Oh my gosh. One of these has to be negative. Not both, because if they're both negative, it'd actually be a double negative positive. So you can either think of it as going the opposite of up, down, and then over, or you can think of it as going up and then the opposite of over to the right, to the left. But don't do the opposite of both, or you won't be doing a negative slope. So you either need to go, so this is here, I'll write for you. Positive slope is up and over. Negative slope is down, over, or up and over the other way. Okay? So in this case, what do we got? 4. We're going to go like this. It's going to cross the other 4. Except it's supposed to be a dashed line. Okay, and then y is less than all that, so we're going to shade below the line. Okay? Oh, was that supposed to be a, or equal? Oh, it was or equal to. No. Last one, -y greater than or equal to x minus 1. It sort of looks like it's ready to graph, but does it solve for y? No. You have to get rid of this negative sign, or you're going to make your slope backwards and the value of this inverted. So you need to multiply by -1, but when you do that, don't forget to change the direction of your sign, or you're going to be going the wrong way. And multiply both terms by that -1. Got to distribute it. Okay, so we're going to start at +1, less than or equal to, so it's a solid line, negative slope, looks almost just like the last one. And then we're shading below the line, because y is the less than, makes it true. Looks like that. Cool. Hope that makes some sense. Recording your answers on this assignment's going to be a little bit of a mess. You gotta like kind of draw with the inscribe tool. It's hard to make it look real nice. I don't know, maybe you can figure out a way to make it look fancier than I can, but don't spend a ton of time trying to record your answers. I really want you to do it on paper and then and learn it rather than waste your time trying to make it look